What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy keeping it shrimple. Episode number 29. Woohoo! As you see, I'm alone tonight, so I'm going to kind of wing it, but I have a plan. So I get to talk by myself without Brian, unfortunately. He's got family things to do, so hey, you know what? Family first. I don't blame him. If I had the opportunity, I'd probably do family stuff too, but I got this Wednesday thing to do, and I like it. So, what's going on? Frank Basanta from New York City, Shooters Range here. What's up, Johnny? Jack in the Shrimp Tank, Bunny Viper, hashtag Gilzilla. Good job. That was a good one. I think Danikin suggested it. Bunny Viper. Oh, that's clap, 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 clap. Yay, yay. Jess, you just got the notification. Well, cool. At least you got it. Nano Aquarium guy. Alan Tooth. Awesome. Good to see you. I was just thinking about you today. I was wondering where you've been. Paul McCarthy. Lefty. Shrimp. Marek. Good evening, everyone. Hashtag Gilzilla. Cool deal. Glad y'all came over from Rob93 and Joey. They're always having fun. I came in at the right time when they showed the picture of that big old fish. So that was kind of cool. Hi, Brookley. What's up? Hey, you notice I didn't say hi, Brookley. I had to practice that. No, just kidding. Rico Stan, what's up, brother? Jeff Kane. Cool deal. It's good to see y'all. I've got some fun stuff, I think, for today. You know me, I try not to get too technical, but still provide good information. So sometimes it's a little bit of a puzzle when I'm trying to figure out how I want to say things and not get. I don't want to make your head explode. Well, I do, but not really. Not really. So the topic is basically shrimp talk. And I want to talk about substrate, filtration, water, etc., the basics. And why I wanted to talk about it is because behind the scenes, while nobody's looking and I'm all alone, I've been doing a lot of resets. Been working on my tanks. Kind of, I've tried different things. I've been stubborn in a way, and that's one of the things that I really want to bring across tonight is that I think sometimes we get stubborn in our ways that have worked for us in the past, or maybe we got lucky in the past thinking that the way we did it was the right way. And sometimes we get set. This is the way to do it. And I kind of think that's not such a good approach. I'm learning a lot, and depending on the water changes and the frequency of, depending on the livestock, the plants that I have in there, the substrate, the filtration, the flow rate of the filtration, all of those things make a big difference in what happens with the tank. So mainly what I'm trying to say is that with an open mind and kind of changing things, doing it differently to kind of figure out where I want to go or how I want to do things for my pets, really, so that they thrive and they're happy and healthy. I've changed different methods. I've tried different things, and it's kind of one of those things where you learn, I've been stubborn that this is the way that I've done it because I had success. But I've also learned that I'm having new success doing different things. Hope that makes sense. Thanks, Jess. My tanks are awesome. I appreciate that. Hi, Sandy. How you doing? So let's talk about the basic stuff when it comes to shrimp tanks or any tank, really. The basic stuff is your substrate, your filtration, your lighting, and your water conditions. So when you think about it, main thing, water. I love shrimp. What's going on, Misfit? appreciate the hashtag I love shrimp. So basically, when you start with your water, I know now after traveling across the country, having water in DFW proper, um, totally different water conditions there than out here where I'm at, a little bit east of DFW. A lot different than the conditions I had in Arkansas, which is a lot different than the water conditions up in Ohio. Um, that right there, you got to know what you're starting with. And that really determines everything. So you get your water conditions right, you're familiar with your water, then you got to figure out substrates. And like I said, I keep it shrimple as much as I can. And it's really fluval substrate for my Caradinas or an active substrate, whether it's UN contra soil. I think that's what I have in a couple of my tanks. Brightwell, ADA. You can use that. That's expensive. And I haven't gone there yet because it takes quite a while to cycle. So I'm really comfortable with fluval. And that's something that you can find at Petco, PetSmart, Amazon, anywhere really. And it's really good for your plants. So if you're a planted tank connoisseur, I'm sure you're using some type of aqua soil or active substrate or nutrient-rich substrate, such as fluval stratum or any other ones. But I like fluval stratum. I've been using it for as long as I've been keeping shrimp. And that's something that I want to bring up too, is because when I first started, hi Sherry, Mississippi hippie in the house. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, none of us do when we first start with the shrimp. And so I got fluval stratum. You know, it's shrimp stratum. That's the way it was marketed in the past. So I was like, ooh, okay, shrimp and plants, which I love plants. So I'm going to do that. And I used that. But I was putting Neocaridina in with my fluval. I didn't think much of it. I didn't really see any problem because my water pH was so high that even with the fluval stratum, I was getting about neutral. So my Neos thrived and they exploded everywhere. Then after I started knowing what I was doing, then I started using active substrate for my Caradinas only, and Samurai soil too. That's a good one. Oh yeah, go grab dinner. I don't blame you. Grab you a plate and sit down and watch. That's what I would do. But anyways, Samurai soul. Oh, I see. Misspell. That's funny. I didn't catch that. But so then I started doing like sand and what's the Eco Complete for Neocaradinas, and then just stratum for my Caradinas. Then as I thought I was learning more, I got really hardcore on only sand, inert substrates for my Neocaradinas and Brightwell or whatever I could find. And hi, Joseph. Hey, Vinoski. What's going on? Bunny Viper, hello. But so I really got hardcore on doing it that way. And then I tried to not change the water too much because I didn't want to change the cycle. All in all, it turns out that my current favorite to use all across the board is fluval. I'm kind of reverting back to, again, taking everything that I learned and remembering that when I had fluval stratum with my Neocaradinas, I did just fine. You know, they did just fine. So I'm going to see. So far, I've had pretty good luck with it using my Neocaradinas in fluval stratum, and they're doing just fine, thriving and molting properly. Keeping the TDS a little bit higher, and I'm using GH and KH remineralizer. So maybe that's helping. but it's one of the things, like I said, I reverted back to when I didn't know what I was doing and had great success. And instead of being stubborn about doing it a certain set way, kind of being flexible with it and experimenting with it. And the luxury is that I have enough tanks to where empty tanks too, to where I've been able to move things around and kind of see what I like best and really see what my shrimp like best. So Substrate, when it comes to that, we already know that I use RO water no matter what, because it's easier for me to remineralize from there. And then now I'm using fluval substrate in almost all my tanks. I mean, I have a couple that have sand, and I have a couple of them that are mixed, sand and fluval substrate. Hey, what's going on, Nicole? Hello. Life is good. You know why? Oh, thanks for reminding me.
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
Beautiful. Hadn't done that yet so far. I made it 10 minutes without doing it. Hey, Daniel. I love shrimp. Beautiful. So, water, substrate, filtration. Now, in the shrimp world, hey, SC Catahoulas, how you doing? In the shrimp world, I'm seeing a trend right now with this under gravel filtration boxes, Asian style method, etc., etc. In concept, I think it's a pretty good one, and I want to try it a little bit. But of course, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Why? Because I just want to. I'm thinking with my logic, which tells me that if that works, then I can come up with a hack. And hopefully by next week, I will have a little video showing you what I'm thinking. I hope a week is enough for me to do some water testing and see if it's working or not. But I have a little idea. Idea popped into my head when I saw somebody do a review on some filtration products, and then going back to Jadren's, I saw some things there that just made me go, I think I could pull off a couple of shrimp hacks and do something. But my favorite filtration right now is double sponge filters. I really like those. I've used Matten filters. I've used regular sponge filters. I've used hang-on back filters in my shrimp tanks. Canister filters. But I think right now my favorite and what I have the best success with is the double sponge filters. And because you can take out just one sponge, clean it off, squeeze it out, and then put it on a new tank, maybe, or reset tank, or you could take it off without killing your cycle in the tank that you have, and then put a brand new sponge in that tankle. Wow. So you can put a new sponge in that tank, and then about a week later, take the old one off, clean it, and put it back on, or put it in another tank. So I kind of do things different because of the fact that I have reset so many tanks and done it over and over, whether it's because I'm trying things out, whether I'm expanding, or unfortunately, the several times I've had to just start all over from scratch. So I've gotten pretty good at it. I wish I didn't have to start over as many times as I have, but it doesn't scare me as much as it once did. And I'm pretty comfortable with what I have going, being able to get everything that I have into new tanks. If I had to, I could do it overnight. And I don't think I would suffer any losses. Yes, Lefty, you hit it on the nose. Right there on the nose. Well, of course, because I left a comment saying that I had awesome shrimpy idea. So I kind of want to do something on that. But anyways, so filtration. If you're going to do a hang-on back filter, and let me see, where did I put it? Oh, I put it right here. If you're going to do a hang-on back filter, there's nothing wrong with it. but I suggest you use a pre-filter. There's several different options that you can use for a pre-filter, and I've tried all of them. The ones that I have found to be my favorite are the stainless steel pre-filters. You can get the different size diameters for the different size stems that you have for your intake valve, and you put this on there and it does a great job. The sponge filters, the pre-filters that are sponges, they tend to get clogged up pretty quickly, or they're so coarse that they really don't do a very good job, at least for shrimp. So I like these. These work great. They're stainless steel, and you can find them on Amazon. That's the only place I've been able to find them myself. But this is a must-have if you have a hang-on back filter for your shrimp tank. Frank Basanta, how is the 20 long doing, the one you did the video on? That's a great question. It's actually doing really, really well. And because it is one of my most recent resets, well, actually now I have 12 more, but that one that I did today, I did a water change on it, and that's something that's kind of new to me too. I'm just starting to like doing more consistent, more frequent water changes, even in my shrimp tanks. Even if it's just 10%, I like doing that. And I think I have a link for these pre-filters. I think I do in the description of the video. I'm not sure it's on the affiliate links if I do. If not, I need to get one up there. But that 20 long is doing really good, and I actually have a little video that I'll share with y'all in a little bit that shows that 20 long. The shrimp are doing fantastic. They look so pretty. I mean, they really do. I like the way they look in that tank. The contrast, it's for me, it's the white. The white is so white that they just stand out like crazy, and they look really cool when they're scattered all over the substrate and swimming around and on the moss, and it's just, they're pretty shrimp. So I really like that tank, but I'll show you a video of that because I also took some video of the other tanks, the resets that I've done, kind of showing you how comfortable I am with doing a reset, changing out the water, even putting some fresh substrate in there with the old substrate, cleaning out the sponges, and soon after putting shrimp in there and not having any issues. As a matter of fact, the tigers, I just moved them last week, and they already had some shrimplets. The extreme blues, I moved them as well into a new tank. And there's, out of all 8 of those tanks, the 4 on top are all Caridina tanks now. They used to be guppy tanks or Neos. And the one right here that's empty is I just reset it. And then the other 3 right there are Neo tanks and guppies. So I have those 8 there. I have 3 on top here, a 20 long here, and then 3 10s right there. So there's 6 shrimp tanks, all Caridina. All the ones behind me, there's 9 on this rack. Those are all guppy tanks, but they're getting switched over. 3 on top are soft water. One of them's clown killifish. This one's the PRL tank here, 20 long. 20 long down here. Right now, it's just hooker moss tank. This 10-gallon is blue bolts. I have a 10-gallon over here that you can't see with my tangerine tigers. And then I have a 20 long right next to it. That is kind of my personal tank. It's got clown killies and some King Kongs and pandas. Can you do 3 videos on the resets? Hi, Carrie Eagle. I have to say that. Well, I don't know. Is Science Gal in here? I love shrimp. Hi, Dee Dee. Shane, what's going on? I love shrimp. Dream fish keeping. Well, I'm getting behind on saying hello. I talk too much. BJ Palmer, what's up? 3 videos on the resets. I need to do videos on the resets. I wanted to do some while I was doing it, but hey, so, things kind of got a little bit jumbled up for me. And it's a good thing. We talked about it last week. And so now I'm having to kind of, on 3 different shrimp. I gotcha. So it got jumbled up just because now I have to kind of readjust my schedule. So today, honestly, I spent all day from the time I got up pretty much till right before this stream started, of cleaning tanks, getting rid of algae issues. Again, I tried to do it, a lot of it. I tried to just see if I could figure out a natural way, turn off the lights, change the water, and then still having problems. So instead of that, I just take everything out, clean it out, and set it back up. It's just easier that way instead of trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. What's up, Fish Tropic Canada? Don't preach. Hey, Jay Oliver, how you doing? My blue bolts are turning into black shadows. I'm trying to get a tank cycle for them. Blue bolts are strange creatures, especially like my extreme blues. They change colors. They tend to change depending on how they're feeling, whether they're buried, whether they're eating, whether they're stressed out. When I took them out of the tank that they were in and moved them, I figured I could get a better look at them because it has better lighting on this side. And when I put them in, I was like, they look almost completely white. They were so stressed out. And then 30 minutes later, you could see this starting to get the blue back into it. And by the next day, they were all colored up like they were in the other tank. And I'll show you, like I said, I have a little video I'll share with you for everybody to check out. But where's Detroit? He's doing family thing. He's hanging out with Luke. I guess they didn't have enough party celebration for his birthday over the weekend, so he's doing as much as he can this week before he starts working 12-hour shifts again. That's the honest truth. I think on Friday he starts working 12 hours, and it's quite a bit of a drive too. Or maybe. I don't know if it's as long as it was before, but either way, he doesn't have much time, so he's getting as much family time in now while he can. So my schedule got disrupted, and it's in a good way. I went to work. Yes, I went to work this week on Monday and helped Jason out at Jadren Aquatics. And basically, I did the entire shipping for him. He was really busy with this print shop, so he helped as much as he could. Luckily, I've been there before. It was just getting familiar with the new way that he's doing things and the new packaging and the boxes and et cetera, et cetera. So once we reviewed that real quick, I got busy, and I packed a lot of orders, and it felt great. It was really cool, but it was a long day. And then Tuesday went back and was there yesterday packing up the rest of the orders. We only had 3 yesterday to pack, and did those and started breaking down tanks, getting the shrimp tanks ready, because I will have shrimp available. They're not really, I'm not going to have them available. Jason's buying my shrimp and selling them on his store. So you'll be able to get my shrimp either from my Stock My Tank or from Jadren Aquatics, which is going to be a really cool deal. We've managed to work some things out, and it's just going to be a cool deal. And I thought I'd put this overlay there. It's kind of cool. We had a really good time. I missed hanging out at the shop. I missed being there, but it was a completely different story now versus 6 months ago when I was still kind of recovering from my surgery. And it's a world of difference. I think it was the end of September when I stopped driving in because I started my cardio rehab, and that just made scheduling just totally impossible. But so that was back in October, and I was still having a rough time even through cardio rehab. So now, with pretty much the entire recovery process being taken care of, I'm feeling much better physically. I don't have the pains that I used to. So being in there bagging fish and catching them and moving with the net and carrying boxes, not a problem at all. So that felt really, really good. But it's really exciting, all the stuff that he has going on. I mean, it's incredible. We're going to do some really cool stuff. Plants, shrimp, fish, mainly guppies. But what was really cool was that I got to package the Starlight plecos, and those are such cool looking plecos. Oh, I mean, and they're tiny. They're barely an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter size right now. So they're really pretty. They're really cute looking, and they sold fast. I think he had several orders where people ordered 6 at a time. So, wow. I was sitting there looking at them going, oh, man, I want 1 or 12. They're really cool. I think they're the L183s. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does anybody know? I think they are L183s. But they're really, really awesome. Really awesome. But yeah, it's the plants, the selection that he's gotten since I've been away is pretty cool. So we got to get all the plant tanks set up and going. So he's got some great prices for the plants. Make sure you get some of those. Hey, Tim, what's going on? Yep, hit that like button. Woohoo! If anything else, do it because...
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
Let's see. Oh, if I do a banner, it covers our eyes. Let's see how this looks. I haven't tested it yet. So yeah, I put the link for my store at Stock My Tank. Then there's the link, soon available, soon. But wait, there's more. So that looks pretty good. Hey Dave, how you doing? I love shrimp. Jadren hasn't done. Hey, what's going on, Matt? Liquid Zoo. I think the last one he did was a tour of his buddy's house. Ron, I think that was the last video he did. He's just been super swamped, and whether it's with the print shop kicking his butt and everybody ordering print stuff, I don't know for whatever print people order. A lot of fish stuff too. He does, stuff for some of the fish fam, but that's been keeping him really busy. And in order for him to be in the fish room doing stuff, that he takes away from the print shop. So that's why I'm back helping him, so that way he can stay working on the print shop. I can stay packaging and the orders and taking care of the tanks. And then hopefully he's doing some massive changes in his fish room. I don't want to spoil it and give it all away, but he's doing some massive changes in his fish room at home. It'll be different. It'll be very different, but I'll let him, open that sack of potatoes when it comes time. Hopefully I can get him on a stream and we can have some chit chat and do it see what we can talk about and let everybody know some of the plans are. I'm sure that's going to be coming up soon. So, stick around and join us every Wednesday for Keeping It Shrimple, and maybe you'll stay in the know. But it's really not that bad the way we have it set up right now. And driving into DFW, which I'm learning that driving on the highways around here, it gives me anxiety. No matter what, it gives me anxiety. I can't handle the way people drive. They're complete idiots, but you got to do it, right? So it's not as bad or hard on me now as it was months ago after my surgery, when everything was freaking me out, just a little heart flutter. And I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? So driving in at the time that I do, it's not that bad of a drive. Traffic isn't that bad. When I drive home, I'm pretty much past the traffic, except for yesterday. I left early because we had some massive thunderstorms coming in, and I did not want to get stuck on the highway while the storm rolled through. So that makes it much better. City Aquatiks, hello, how you doing? But yeah, so I really like what we have going on there. Hopefully in the next week, we'll have the shrimp rack set up and going. I'm resetting tanks there as well, because we had them set up for Caradinas back in September-ish, August. I think he did it while I was still recovering, and then when I came back to work, they were set up. So, and they had a little bit of shrimp, but not much. Hey, Ed's picking up cichlids. Try driving through New York City. No, thank you. Oh man, yeah. You need drugs. Or I could become a super aggressive driver like all these people are and do, 90 in the slow lane while the people in the fast lane are doing 75 and 80. It's just ridiculous. And then they wonder why there's wrecks. But anyways, so let me get this off of here. There we go. And let me get this off of here. Yes. So reunited, and it feels so good. Yes, it does. Me and Jason are having a good time, and we're going to keep on having a good time. I don't know really the timeline as far as how soon we will have all of the shrimp listed on the website and all of the accessories. You'll be able to get all the stuff that I use as far as shrimp nets, sponge filters, remineralizers, the Blue Crown nitrifying bacteria, the Blue Crown remineralizer, the Blue Crown shrimp food. Yeah, Robbie does me righteous on this stuff. So that's the stuff that I'm going to be offering. And basically, Jason's buying it and reselling it on his website. So you can get some of my stuff. I'm trying to still figure out how I want to do. I'm going to stock my tank and the stuff at Jason's, because it's really his stuff to sell. He's just buying it from me and then putting it on his website. So I still have the stock my tank stuff, give you more options whichever way you want to go. But it's hopefully at some point, you'll be able to get my stuff at other places too, local fish stores. Maybe somebody wants to, buy my stuff and sell it, whatever. But that's kind of where I'm hoping to be at some point, because eventually I will have a big giant breeding facility, fish farm, plant farm, shrimp farm, whatever you want to call it, but just lots of gallons of water with lots of tiny critters and plants and mosses and all the kinds of good stuff that I can share with everybody, so that you can get happy shrimp tanks too. Oh, that was a mouthful. Wait, let's see. Yep, 90 into slow pass. All right, on the bottom. Yes. Everybody is on drugs driving around. Yesterday, I seen two old couples driving down the road with oxygen masks on while they drive. Papa Shrimp have the car if tomorrow surrounded by bumpers and airbags. Yeah, I know, right? Used to work in New York City, 10 miles, 1 hour drive on a good day. Oof. Yeah, I drive 60 miles one way, and it's about an hour drive, maybe an hour and a half, depending on traffic. Dallas, Texas, 30 years. Yep, that's what I'm saying, Freaky Fish Lady. People in Dallas, crazy. Should we expect a dynamic duo at Dallas Aquashella? Why, yes, you should. I know I'm going to be there. I know he's going to be there, and I would imagine we'll be there together. I love shrimp. I love it. With whatever they call them, emoticons, emojis. If your power goes off, how long can your tanks go for? That's a great question. One day back in 2019, early 2019, we had a storm and all power went out. I freaked because all of my bubblers were off, all of my sponge filters, and I had lots and lots and lots of shrimp. So I ran down to Walmart, bought those little battery powered fish buddies. I think they were called Fish Baby Buddies or something like that. They had two sizes, used AA batteries or C batteries. So I got a bunch of those, put them in my tanks. We were out of power for 17 hours. I didn't have any losses. So I think at that time, I think in my head, okay, so maybe not more than 12 hours and you need to get some air going, right? Well, then months later, when the house fire happened and my tank sat for 2 months with no air, no electricity, no light, just water and the plants and mosses that were in the tank, everything survived. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but it was amazing to me that unless it was in a tank that was damaged by the fire or had too much smoke, all the fish upstairs in the living room side, not in the bedroom, everything in the bedroom died. That was the room where the fire was. But in the living room, it was just smoke damaged and everything survived in all of those tanks. Even months later, my buddy took one of the aquariums, he cleaned it up. I left about 1.5 inches of water in it, and he took it home. It sloshed around in the back and got all black and nasty because, of course, there was fluval and there was gravel and all kinds of mold. And took it home, left it outside for a couple of weeks, then cleaned it out. And while he was cleaning it, lo and behold, there was shrimp in there. They were still alive. So no power. I don't know how long. It depends on how much you're dependent on the air. I think plants help. And depending on the species, you may not even need, I mean, like my clown killifish, I have them in tanks with no air. It's just absolutely still water. And the only oxygen, I guess, is provided by the plants and where I change when I do water changes. So I guess it really depends on how much stuff you have dependent on, like if it's a sump system, if it's hang-on backs, whatever's dependent on your bacteria. I think in the shrimp world, it's kind of you're really dependent on your substrate. So not so much the filters, as they do provide a biofiltration. I don't think that if they turn off that it kills it and your fish are going to die or your shrimp are going to die. Maybe your fish, that's a totally different thing, But in my experience, when I had to deal with it longer than I ever wanted to, everything survived. And even when I did the 17 hours with no power, but I had bubblers, everything was fine. So I guess you have to kind of play it by ear depending on what you have. If you have hang-on back filters, maybe that's more dependent on the power than the air pumps running your sponge filters. Like I said, my tanks are set up so simple that it's really relying on the substrate and the biofilm and the all the tiny little critters that help the tank thrive and keep the shrimp alive. Hi, Crowntail, how you doing? Ooh, blue dragon guppies from Maze Tails Fur and Fins. I had to give a like from this one too. Share out Papa Shrimp to the world. Yes. Woohoo. Hey, I got some people that watch from the UK. They're on the replay crew. I see them in the mornings and they come and check it out and start their Thursday off watching some Papa Shrimp, keeping it shrimple. So I guess I'm kind of an international celebrity. Whatever. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Hey, even Dr. Anthony had his whole class say, I love shrimp. And one of them said, I love Papa Shrimp. So that was kind of cool. He wants some free shrimp out of it. Let's see. That's why I run air-driven sponge filters. Had a bad experience with HOB with power outages and never looked back. Yeah, see, I think if you lose power in your sponge filter and it stops bubbling air, your bacteria is still alive. It's just not getting that flow through. I don't think it's as detrimental as the bacteria that's being flushed through your tank through the HOB. That stops completely when it stops. So if that's where it's getting all of its bacteria from and filtration from, then yeah. I still want to know how you see the shrimp. I never see mine. You got to do a little bit more water changes. That's what I found when most of the times that's how I tell if my shrimp are happy, is because they'll be out and about grazing all over the gravel or the substrate and swimming around. When they're hiding, something's wrong. At least that's kind of the way I look at it. They're telling me something's wrong and they're hiding because they just don't want to be out grazing. And that's where I think I really love shrimp. That's where I think water changes. That's what you start with and go from there. But usually water changes will bring the shrimp out. And if you have the shadow pandas, I have the same with mine. My shadow pandas like to hide, but with a water change, they get excited and they come out. And just a little tip: if your shadow pandas are white, don't think that they need to be cold. That's not the problem. The problem is that what I found, and I've heard from other people saying too, is that the nitrate level is high and they turn white. So do a water change, get those nitrates down to 0, and they'll go back to being black and blue. Just a little hint there. Do I think shrimp are more active at night? Yes and no. I mean, I think they do the dirty at night when the lights are out. I think they like it better. But I don't know. I've come in my room and turn on a light and I see them scatter. So they might come out from their hiding places more when it's dark because they feel extra safe, I would imagine. Don't feel bad. My shrimp hide too. Hi, Baron and Baroness Von Wolf. Good to see you. I have a huge cholla wood in my shrimp tank. They're all on it all the time, especially the babies. Yeah, the cholla wood gives you a lot of biofilm and surface area, and they like to get inside and crawl around it. It's kind of like it's a good way to do a shrimp cave naturally. And that's why in one of my tanks, I kind of laid 4 of them across this way and then 3 across this way, and then made a little pyramid out of it. And so that way it's just a big giant shrimp cave. we'll see the effects of if whether that was a mistake or not, because I'm going to clean that tank out soon. So, by the way, let's take a look. Let me pull up this video that I made for y'all so you can get a look. It'll also show you a little bit of an update on the 20-gallon log that Frank DeSanto was asking about that I just set up and did a video on. Shrimpy stuff. Oh, over here, shrimps. I got so many videos that I just name them shrimps. Shrimp 1, shrimp 2, shrimp 3. I don't see the video. And the other thing I learned is that you can't. Last week with Brian, I think I tried to show a video and it didn't come out very good. And that's because I output it at 4K and StreamYard does not like 4K. Let's see if this plays. Hey. So there you go. That's the 20-gallon log. That's a little bitty tiny baby. Like I said, you could see them from a mile away because they're so white, and then the red is so red. It is cleaned up really nicely as far as any of the little algae that it had. The shrimp have eaten it, cleaned up the spider wood. It doesn't look hairy anymore. The hooker moss is really starting to take hold and stretch out like little cactuses. That's what Brian says. But everything's looking really good in that tank. I got a little bit of glare on there. Sorry about that. But then this is a newly set tank, and this is some tigers, some fancy red tigers. I pulled them out of the other tank they were in. I took the ones with more white coloration and just prettier stripes, darker reds. I took those out of the tank that they were in and put them in this one. Again, see, that one's buried. You can tell she's got a dark belly, so she's nice and fat. No, I don't have any bamboo shrimp. Here's the blues. I put them in their new tank as well. So as you can see, they were very, very light colored when I put them in this tank. And some of the babies are light colored. But now that they're getting happier, they're going back to darker blues and more darker colors. And like I said, it changes. It'll change in the morning, from morning to night. Here's another newly reset tank. I put some Sawasser tang in there on a tree. I have a guppy in there. It's a really pretty guppy. I don't want to get rid of it, but he's kind of all by himself. But I have some crystal shrimp that I pulled out of one of the tanks at Jason's, Jadren Aquatics, and brought it here until we get them reset. Here's one that I'm cycling that I just reset. And you can tell that it's just recently reset because it still has algae on the walls. These are the Galaxy Pintos and Fishbone Galaxies. Yeah, it was a dragon guppy. It started off being a blue dragon, but it didn't have the blue colors. Its brother is very, very blue. But these are Galaxy Pintos, some of them Fishbone genetics, some of them snowflakes. They're really pretty. I got to do some culling. There is a lot of baby fry in this tank. A lot of them. Baby fry, baby shrimp right there. You could see one. It's so cool to see that they already got stripes at such a small shrimplet size, because they usually look like that one. They're barely colored in. Yes, fluval stratum. Hold on, let me mute. But as you can see, not too bad for being pretty much. They were last week. They were with black sand, and gravel and pretty nasty to me. I mean, according, I didn't like them. They had gotten away from me. And so I basically just reset them, cleaned them up, washed them out as much as I could, as far as getting all the junk out of the substrate. And then I capped it off with some new stratum and gave it a little while. I gave them about a week, did a little bit of a water change, and then put the shrimp in there once I felt comfortable. I did take all my measurements. pH was good, TDS was good, and like I said, they're doing great in there. So that's kind of what I've been doing on there. Shrimplet, get name right. Baby shrimp. Shrimplet. All right, Crown Tail. Oh no, not Tom. You know how many times I hear that joke in my lifetime? Boy, if I had $1, I'd be a millionaire. Well, at least 1,000 there. At least 1,000 there. But so to kind of recap everything, like I said, substrate, water, filtration, lighting. I have been experimenting with the lighting because it really depends on what I have in there. Of course, if I don't have a bunch of plants, maybe it's just mosses, which a lot of my shrimp tanks, that's all it is, just moss. Then I got to find that right balance depending on what it is. As far, I like to run it about 6 hours max. But on days like today, I'm busy in here working all day. You can see my lights already turned off. But usually when I'm streaming, I want to keep my lights on so that way I'm not streaming in the dark. But the timers, the way that they're set, like I said, I try to keep it at about 6 hours of light because I've noticed when I have more, and when for whatever reason, if I forget to turn off the night light, the blue night light, those are the ones that give me the biggest problems. So lighting definitely plays a big difference. And I guess it also makes a difference if the light is sitting right on the tank or if it's lifted up above. So all of those things make a difference. Something that I've been discovering lately too is if you have a rack system and you have a light underneath your tank, you don't realize how much temperature is going up into the tank above it. And the only reason I discovered this is because when I was cleaning out a tank yesterday at the shop, I was moving my hand around in the substrate, trying to find all of the little pieces of plant things, because it's just a plant tank. So it has substrate in it, fluval substrate in it, and a lot of the plants, the metal band, not metal band, but lead band for the plants. I was trying to fish them out. As I was doing that, I noticed that the bottom glass was warm to the touch compared to the temperature of the water. So that just made me realize there's a lot of heat coming up from the light underneath. So pay attention to that. And previous setups that I've had where I built a rack and had tanks stacked on top, my preference is to have a layer of insulation there. I use the bubble foil stuff and I put it that way, and then I put the light underneath that on the tank below it because I figured the reflection from the foil would also help spread the light. I don't know if it worked, but it looked really cool. Awesome. Thank you, Crown Tail. Hit that thumbs up, especially replay crew. I appreciate the comments and the likes and the shares. So hopefully tomorrow when you're in here, you hit that thumbs up also. Blue light, okay, left on at night. There's a lot of discussion about that. And I used to love it. I used to love it, love it, love it, especially when I had aquariums in my bedroom because I could just turn off the TV and use the bubbles and watching the aquarium as watching the light, the blue light kind of go. That helped me fall asleep, helped relax me at night. But algae problems. Then I started fighting algae problems. So I've since learned to turn the blue light off. And sometimes during the day when I have it at its peak settings, I take out the blue light and green lights if there's green. Sometimes I'll put a little bit in. It just really depends on the plants too and the shrimp. But I just use the whites, the warm white, the soft white, and the white. Which question above? When breeding shrimp, is there any fighting in males? And if the dominant male dies, does that mean the next batch is from new male? Are shrimps like live bearers or not? That's a good question. And I saw somebody else ask that question on another shrimp stream. And I think the jury is still out on whether they can hold the sperm, the females, whether they can hold a sperm and produce like the live bearers do. From what I've seen, though, with my own eyes, I seen it with my own eyes, is that I think the reason why shrimp may vary in keeping a strain stable is because multiple males seem to be impregnating or fertilizing the saddle on the females, not just one. So when you see that, when I've seen it, it's always been a female that's being attacked or fertilized by 3 or 4 different males in that process. So that's why I believe that the tendency for breeders that are serious about breeding their shrimp, they'll usually have a ratio of 1 male to maybe 2 or 3 or 4 females. That way, that you know that that's where the genetics are coming from, is from that male, instead of the 2 or 3 or 4 males that are in there that all want a piece. That sounds horrible, but it's true. They're males. They want some. They want some of that mama shrimp. And so they all try to go at it. And I think the tendency is to get get a higher ratio of females, and then you'll have better success. The males are usually going to be the more dominant genes. And in neos, that's the hard part, because the neos males usually have less coloration than the females do. So sometimes when you're culling, you take out a male and you're like, that one looks not so great. So you cull it and throw it in your skittle tank. And then next thing you know, that male had the genes that you wanted to carry on your strain. It's neos, the males usually have less coloration. If you can get them, that's the whole trick. Like LRB shrimp, males, females, it doesn't matter. They're blue. Those are beautiful shrimp. So you can get there, but it takes a lot of work. And even Lucas has said that it takes a lot of work, and sometimes he gets behind on calling his A team and B team shrimp. Are you laughing at what I said? Yeah, I know. Oopsie. But that was a good question, Crown Tail. Thanks for making me look back up, because I missed it. I saw it, but I missed it. If that makes sense. Anyways, so what's going on this week that I know of? I don't know. I've been going crazy. It's fun. Like I said, it's great to be back with Jason at Jadren Aquatics. Feels like I'm back home. What age do you select males versus females for next generation? As soon as I can see the pattern or coloration and basically the body shape, there's a little trick to look at the antenna as well to be able to sex them at a small size. But I've been pretty lucky with just being able to tell. It's hard with the little ones, so you do have to look at the antennas a little bit. But that's something it's hard to see. You got to get a little macro lens and all that fun stuff. But I would do it, especially if it's just a mutation or a throw that you really don't want. You get it out of there as early as possible. Like I said, the only reason I really say that is because of seeing how many males get on the female to fertilize the saddle. You might want to just have that ratio. Like I said, one male to every 3 is a good number, but at least 2 females to every male. And I think, and then the males, try to make sure all of your males look the same and have whatever it is characteristic that you're looking for, that you want that to carry through. Jerry, could you do a video, or do you have it already in sexing? No, I do not, and I need to do a video. As a matter of fact, me and Brian had talked about doing something together, especially on the antenna thing, because that's a really good tip. I've seen it on Facebook on the shrimp pimping site, where somebody took some pictures and circled and showed you the difference between the top antennas and the length. And that's how you tell male and female, depending on the length of the top antennas. They have 3 sets. They have the top, the bottom, and the sides. The side ones are the really, really long ones. The bottom ones are the ones that you see. And sometimes they'll take the top ones and point them down too. I'm doing all this. Woo, woo, woo. I'm a dork. But anyways, yeah, I need to do something on that. Me and Brian were talking about that. I think that'd be a really good one. The only thing is I don't want to step off on a ledge and say something and be misinforming people. So I got to make sure what I'm talking about in the pictures that we have and the video, the way it's put together, is done properly. I don't want it to misinform anybody. And then, well, Papa Shrimp said, well, yeah, I know. I say a lot of things. Very good information. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Do you separate preggy moms to deliver in separate birth tank? That's a very good question as well. I used to do that all the time. And I thought it was a bad practice when somebody said, why do you take the mother out and put her in another tank? And I was like, well, because I know that mother and those babies, if they produce the colors or patterns that I'm looking for, then I know that I want to keep that mother going. And the shrimplets, I want those genetics to keep on living through in generation after generation. But then somebody questioned me, and of course I questioned myself, and I was like, okay, don't pull the mothers. And then I started trying to pull the babies, and boy, that is so hard because they're so tiny. So what I prefer to do, and what I think is I have found to be the best method, is to either pull the mother and put her in another tank so she can release the shrimplets there, or just use a breeder box, an external breeder box, and put the mother in there until she has the shrimplets, and then put her back in the tank as soon as she has the shrimplets. And then I have the shrimplets separated, and from there I can either let them grow, release them back into the tank, or put them in another tank, depending on how everything comes out. Does that make sense? Hey, no problem, Jeff. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us on Wednesday, Keeping It Shrimple. My blue shrimp from LRB. Should I worry about culling? No, I don't think so. I mean, his blue shrimp are pretty solid all the way through. You might get one or two every once in a while that throws a funny color. Just put it in your Skittles tank. But the ones that I had when I had shrimp, because I did buy shrimp from LRB, the blue ones, they were awesome. And even the shrimplets were awesome. They were so blue. Oh, I was in love with them. Would it be easier to buy a variety of shrimp to sex them? I wouldn't say a variety of shrimps. I would say the easiest way, the best way to do it is like, don't just get 5. If you want, I mean, you can. I mean, you can get 2 shrimp. All you need is 2 shrimp, a male and a female, and you can end up with a colony of hundreds. So that's really all you need, but it takes time. I like to have at least 5. Again, I'd like 1 male and 4 females, or 2 males and 3 females if I'm going to go with 5. If you go with 10, you have a better chance of having enough females to males ratio, or vice versa. The variety, I mean, for me, I want something that I can see. So it has to be certain colors that I can see better. But that's me. And I use my camera to overcome my deficiencies. No, it doesn't. LOL. Yes, sir. I understand. Thanks for the info. I'm thinking along the same lines. Do you net preggy or coax into a cup of water during the week? I net her. Yeah. That's the one thing I love about shrimp, is that most of the times, if you just take your time and use a 3D net, not any kind of collapsible net. You need the 3D box ones. Those are the perfect. They're best. They don't collapse on itself. And when you put it in the net, in the tank real slowly behind the shrimp, usually the shrimp will jump right in there or crawl right in there. And then you slowly cup it. You cup it so that way the shrimp is in there, and you pull it up and out and then put it in whatever you're putting it in. I have rarely had to chase a shrimp, and I don't like to chase shrimp. I think that stresses them out. And it's going to be enough stress as it is going from where they're at, and then all of a sudden a little box. And that's why I like to use the breeder box, because it's using the same water from the tank that it's in. So I'm only separating it just so that way it can release its babies in there, and I don't have to try to catch them out of the 10-gallon tank. That's don't make yourself have to work harder. Trust me, I've learned the hard way. I've done it wrong many times. I've done it wrong, and that's how I feel confident with what I do now. Not necessarily that it's the right way, but it's what works for me with everything that I've learned doing it wrong. And sometimes I do it wrong because I'm a stubborn ass, and I have to find out for myself. So I do. So they may say, oh, you can't do it that way. This is the appropriate way to do it. Well, let me find out. Let me see. Again, I want to know why. Why is that the right way, the best way? Not really the best way. Why does it do what it does or doesn't? I like to know the whys, but that's just me. Anyways, we've gone over the hour. I appreciate y'all hanging out and sticking with me through, let's see, it's 8:07 now. So thanks for hanging out. It's been an awesome Wednesday, keeping it shrimple, episode 29. We'll catch you on the next one. And before we go, one more time, just for the heck of it, because I know you.
Shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you again next time. Peace.